So what was the last patch that you submitted?
Last patch recently I submitted was about the AFS patch, and in that patch I had to change the instance of the time spec and replace it with that k-time getNS, and when I send it to the maintainers list, I got very nice errors that is probably out of my scope. That is N68K architecture. What was that? Fugman's magic.
Right, there's the zero-day builder found a bug that she hadn't found earlier, and I totally missed that bug too when I reviewed the patch. So the patch looked good to me. I told her to send it off to the maintainer, and then it got added to the maintainer tree. And in the kernel we have the zero-day builder, which just builds every kernel tree that's on kernel.org on all the architectures, and it found that actually didn't work on some architectures.
So sometimes you miss things?
Oh yes, that happens.
But usually you don't, right?
I try not to.
All right. So how about some examples of other previous patches? What was the most difficult one?
Most difficult one. Right now I'm working on it, that is the XFS file system patches, and before that I was working on the RISOS patch, and that involves a lot of inodes concepts and much more concepts of the file system, very much deeper in that. And regarding the XFS, I'm still looking at the Dave Chinder's patch. I'm working on it, trying to solve that. More I can tell you about that.
Yeah, so in XFS, the problem is that the on-disk timestamp is still 32-bit. So even on 64-bit systems, it's already broken, and we have to fix XFS so that the timestamps are stored correctly even for 64-bit systems. And it doesn't really have a lot of space in the inode, so we can't do 64-bit timestamps. And Dave Chinder came up with a nice solution of extending the 32-bit timestamp by another 8-bit, which will help us go over the next few thousand years at least.
That's good, a few thousand years.
A few thousand years is better than nothing. Yes.
Is this ARM only, or is it every architecture?
No, that's every architecture. This is on x86 64 as well. ext3 has the same problem. ext4 has the fix already.
So is it cool to know that your work is going on everywhere in the world?
Oh yes.
That's pretty cool, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
especially you're involved in a kind of a work which is like, oh, it's a 2038 32-bit system will crash. I mean,
yes.
So it's great to be part of that, solving those things.
Were there any of the patches that was so easy you did it like very quickly?
The
How long
first
does it
patch
take to do those that you're talking about? How long time does it take?
For file system patches, it usually takes me around 1 week, because that's a normal time. And for the drivers patches, which involves a few cleanups and fixing up the timestamps, that involves maybe 2-3 days maximum.
Yeah,
Right.
sometimes an hour, right?
Yeah, sometimes an hour, and actually in half an hour I've also solved one.
And how many things can you check in a day? How much work can you do?
I do a lot of patch reviews, so I probably look at 20, 30, 40 patches a day when I'm doing my emails.
Do you think that guy Greg, he's doing a lot of work quickly?
He's among the fastest. He's faster than me, definitely.
Does he really check everything, or does he just
yes.
approve? That's it.
He does check everything, and I do get, I mean, because when I applied during my application, I used to get a lot of comments, so I know as the most maintainers used to reply me within a day, but Greg was such a person, he used to reply me in an hour, maybe maximum would be half a day for any of the patch if I submit.
And what the reply is it makes sense? Or is it like, what?
Patch looks good, but you can try still better, and sometimes this won't work.
This won't work.
Yeah.
All right. So how many things do you have to do in the future with this kind of stuff? Do you have a whole list of things you have to do? You have to do all 750 or what?
No.
No. My part just involves regarding my internship time, that is the file systems. And after that, I'm looking forward to working on 96 boards, and maybe if I get a chance for Project ARA.
So, is this the coolest thing you've done so far, or have you done something that was crazy like this before?
Because I'm a newbie, and as well as I'm still in my sophomore year, so this is the first thing which is exciting for me.
It's much cooler than most. most of the work that anybody's doing here.
Much cooler.
Yes.
What is
it's
most
really
people
cool.
doing?
Like people just work on one SoC. They work on one driver. That driver won't last for more than a few years, then will be forgotten. The work that Tina's doing is really that's important for everybody in the world.
That's really cool. And what's it called? Will there be more and more of that kind of stuff happening for Linaro guys in the future and girls?
This is special, I think. Linaro will get more involved in core kernel problems, so, maintaining kernel subsystems in the kernel that are not related to ARM specifically.
Because Greg was saying he was saying that maybe Linaro is a little bit too much focus on ARM, right? Needs to be a little bit more generic stuff, or what?
Well, he also said that we're already doing quite a lot in the core kernel. The part that we're not doing well on our network.
Why?
It's not an interest to Linaro at the moment. So there's the Linaro network group.
They're doing too much in the user space or something?
Well, their interest is high performance networking, and they have the Open Data Plane project, which is a very interesting project, but it's not in the Linux kernel.
All right. Are you interested in networking?
Not yet, but
Not yet.
maybe in the future if I get an development interest.
So we're here at the Linaro Connect. So hello. So there was a pretty cool keynote right now, no?
Yes, it was.
What do you think about that keynote?
It was pretty awesome.
Yep.
Well, it was my first time, so I really enjoyed it and a lot to learn, a lot about the technical stuff.
So who are you?
I'm Tina. I'm a student and as well as a GNOME OPW intern. Well, OPW is the outreach program for women. That is basically a program for women to take active part in open source projects.
So where are you from?
I'm from India.
So you live in where in India?
India, Gujarat, Baroda.
So what have you been doing the last time?
Well,
What-
I'm very
Yes. So I've been mentoring her as a mentor for the OPW project, and we've been working together on solving the year 2038 problem.
Year 2038.
Year 2038. That's the end of the world if we don't do anything about it.
So what is that about?
Tina? What?
Okay. So Y2038, that is similar to the Unix POSIX 2000K bug, in which the 32-bit signed integer time t will overflow, and because of that, the 32-bit applications will stop working, or either they will crash.
The 32-bit applications will stop working?
Yes. Every 32-bit system in the world today will stop working.
It's kind of like a Y2K?
It's worse.
It's worse.
It's worse.
So what have you been doing?
Well, my project involves solving the bugs or removing the instances of the 32-bit integer that is causing this overflow and replacing it by 64-bit integer
In the kernel.
in the kernel, specifically in the Linux kernel.
So have you been doing some stuff like submitting and
Yeah, I do submit patches.
how many?
How many? I've still not counted, but
Yeah,
probably
so
around
I think
50 to
it's-
60.
Yeah.
Much more than that.
I think a few dozen already.
She doesn't. So have you been checking them out and it looks good or what?
Yes, I mean I've been guiding her through the process, explaining how to do patches in the first place and helping them getting to the stage where they get accepted in the kernel.
You're a maintainer, right?
Yes.
So what does that mean?
So I maintain a completely separate subsystem. I'm maintaining the ARM SoC tree together with Olaf Johansson from Google. And this is one of the projects that I'm doing on the side. It involves changing the kernel all over the place. And Tina has just started on some device drivers and then the file systems. But we have to solve it for the entire kernel. And there's a couple of people working together with us. There's Thomas Gleixner, who's maintaining the timing subsystem. And then here at Linaro we have John Stolz is working with me. We're guiding some other people as well. We have newcomers from other companies that are doing similar patches to what Tina is doing. And they're all sending patches. We currently have around 750 files in the kernel that we need to fix. We're getting them one at a time.
How do you identify those that need to be fixed? Is it automatic?
We can see which files are using certain types in the C code. So there's time t, struct time spec, struct time val. All of these are problematic, we know. And then we look at each file one at a time and then fix it.
So can you understand all of these problems?
Well, I'm trying, but yes, I can do understand.
Or do you need him to help you a lot, or?
I do need his help, obviously, because I'm a newbie in this field, but yes, I can probably solve this.
So you did the computer science?
No, I'm in electronics. I'm pursuing my second year, sophomore year in the electronics engineering.
So what do you want to do in the future? Work at Linaro?
Probably no France, but yes, I would be fortunate if I get a chance to work in Linaro.
What do you think about the Linaro Connect and the Linaro people?
Oh, Linaro people are very helpful, just as awesome. And Linaro, I'm very happy that they are working as a non-profit organization, and that too in open source projects.
So what do you think? Do you think there's enough manpower to do everything that needed to be done? Or do you want to hire like 1,000 people?
For this?
To help you with everything?
This is mostly hobbyists doing this. So it's in Linaro we use people who don't have a lot of experience doing upstream work to get them started with upstreaming, so they can move on to a project that the Linaro members are interested in as well. This will be ongoing work for a couple of years. But we also still have, it's great to have someone work on it full time like Tina, because she's getting a lot done.
In the beginning, did you try to upstream a bunch of things and it was like rejected?
Oh yes.
Yes?
At the starting of my application, I got many comments, and that comments were sometimes very horrible.
What did they say?
No, some silly kinds of mistake if I do. They used to say, don't do this, don't do that. I mean, what are you doing? Like, that's right.
Yeah. All right, but then you figured it out, and then it works.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool.
You've been doing great.
Okay.